Welcome to the Success Sensei podcast for anyone interested in success, happiness, and balance. We'll teach you how to be a black belt at life. And now, your host, former professional fighter, multiple world champion, entrepreneur, and investor, Robert Devane.
Bowing in, this is Roundhouse Rob, the Success Sensei, helping you to win at life one kick and punch at a time. Episode 261, Living Your Best Life. Welcome to the main event.
It's the Success Sensei podcast main event.
Living your best life. Everybody wants to be living their best lives. And what does it mean to live your best life? Well, everybody's going to have a completely different definition of living your best life. I suppose it's a new enough phraseology that's only come into public consciousness in the last few years. But I think everybody understands what it means to live your best life. It means to be at your happiness, to do things the way you want to do them. I suppose it's the ultimate marker of success, really. It's, having enough freedom to do what you want to do, to experience all the many different things in life that you want to experience. At the same time, having enough responsibility to feel that you're still contributing, to feel that you're still necessary. So getting that balance in place. So it means being mostly happy, because you can't be happy every moment of every single day, but being the majority of the time being happy. It means, to experience, as I said, all the many different facets of life that you wish to experience, while at the same time creating and constantly improving your environment and your destiny, your future. So that's one definition. Notice the way in that definition of living your best life, I didn't mention anything to do with money, but obviously, in order to be able to have enough freedom to do what you want to do, and also to have that enough responsibility to make you feel that you're contributing, they're going to involve the more finances you have, the more financially healthy you are, potentially the more things you can experience and the more freedom you do have. So it is tied in, but it's not about money, is my point. It's not all about money. Living your best life might have something to do with money, but it's not all about money. And if you actually look at some of the most happiest moments in your life, it probably maybe it required a bit of money to set up the situation, but it's generally something that doesn't actually cost you money, that you've gotten the most amount of joy or the most amount of happiness. So I'm not saying that money isn't important. I'm just saying living your best life doesn't equal you slaving away and literally chasing every single euro or every single dollar. And that brings me on to, I suppose, my first most important point, and it is be careful what you wish for. Maybe it's a fallacy, that the best life that you're imagining for yourself. Maybe it's not real. Maybe you're on the wrong path. Maybe you're on the right path, but this is something that you have to decide for yourself. I'll give you an example. Before COVID, how many people said they wish they didn't have to work, that they hated their jobs? And then as soon as COVID happened and you were restricted, all of us, from working and from our jobs, that we had a new sense of value towards the exact things that maybe we've been given out about for years. So maybe you've been very dissatisfied. You thought your job wasn't as important to you as you may have realized during COVID. Now, maybe you haven't experienced that. Maybe you have. But it's the same with working inside an office. There was many people that wished that they never had to go into the office. They hated the office politics. They hated the office environment. They hated the commute. And as soon as that was taken away, a lot of people realized that they really miss the office, that they don't want to work from home on a long-term basis. And it's the same with human interaction. There was many people that thought, they didn't appreciate human interaction as much as they actually did. And when that was taken away from them, and when COVID and lockdowns and the pandemic restricted human interaction, they genuinely missed it. So have a new invigorated respect for, working in the office or for their job or for the human interaction. Now that just goes to show you might have built your future goals on, not having to have a job, not having to work in an office, not having to interact with the many people that you do. And that might have seemed like a very worthwhile goal for you, but maybe COVID has made you second guess that. I see it and I hear it frequently in the fire community. The financial independence, retire early. It's the retire early bit that a lot of people think they want to retire early. They think they don't want to be a slave to their wage and a slave to the job, and the sooner they get out, the better. I know many people who have taken early retirement and basically they were not happy. It wasn't what they thought they didn't feel the same amount of self-worth they had when they had a job. They got bored, basically, and they liked the security of the job. And it turns out that, maybe some of what they consider to be the mundane day-to-day responsibility of work, that they actually turn out to miss it when they take early retirement. And many go back to, the career that they had before they took early retirement. So I know many people who've taken several retirements, or maybe they change career, but basically their whole goal of retiring early and doing absolutely nothing after the few weeks or the few months turns out to be not something that, they were as happy with as they thought they might be. And if you think that you dedicate the majority of your life towards that goal, and you then reach that goal and you are not happy, that's it's kind of sad to think that much time and energy may have been invested in an incorrect pursuit. Now you make lemonade out of lemon. So I've no doubt that you can, once you're in a good position to be able to retire early, that you don't have to do so, and you can switch it to something else. So I'm sure it hasn't turned out to be a total negative, but all I'm saying is be careful what you wish for. Make sure it truly is what you wish for, and not some kind of a falsehood that when you get there, you could be disappointed with it, or it mightn't actually suit you at all. And we're also talking about your best life. No, not a celebrity's best life. What is the best life for you and to you? Not what someone else is, not, as I said, what some high profile person is, not your best life in comparison to someone else's best life, but genuinely in your mind, your body, your heart and soul, what is your best life and what does that mean to you? And again, not your best life as you wish to be projected on social media, but actually genuinely in your heart and mind. It is something that you're going to have to think about in order for you to be able to shoot for that destination. Sometimes when you're living the dream, you don't even realize you're living the dream, and it doesn't feel like you're living the dream. And that is life. That is the conundrum, that some people can be in absolutely brilliant positions and they don't even recognize that fact. It doesn't even feel like it. And that's because no matter, how positive, no matter how happy you are in life, bad things can still happen. Annoyances, grievances, frustrations can still happen. You will still experience all the wide-ranging gamut of human emotion. There's no way around that. Yes, you can strive to be mostly happy, but it's unreasonable to think that never will you become sad or angry or frustrated. So sometimes living the dream doesn't feel like you're living the dream. And that's why you can look at other people and think that they're living the dream. But if you talk to them themselves, you'll surprise them. Now, this happened to me. At one stage in my life, I met somebody who just, I suppose they shook me into the present tense. They shook me into reality. We were celebrating a victory after a fight event, and we were just socializing with a few people in the fight world. And the person said to me, what do you do? So I'm a professional trainer, professional martial arts instructor, and I'm also a professional fighter. And they stopped me in my tracks by saying, you're doing it, you're living it, you're living the dream. Now, I had never thought in those terms. To me, I was struggling as a small business owner, and I was struggling to establish myself as a fighter. So to me, there was a lot of struggle involved in what I was doing. But to them, you're living the dream. You're doing it. You're doing what so many people wish they could be doing. And it didn't feel like that to me, but it did shake me into the present tense. It did shake me into the moment, and it did make me reframe my mindset and look at things a little bit different instead of just constantly focusing on the grind. And this is exactly what happens. Sometimes when you're living your best life, you don't even appreciate that you're living your best life. And I have noticed this again during parenthood. Parenthood is, for any parents out there, new parents or old parents, you can appreciate that, you don't always recognize the non-obvious moments. Yeah, you recognize the moments that you try to set up. And that is living your best life. But there's everyday moments that you don't necessarily recognize. And you do have to train yourself to stop and to appreciate them and to enjoy them so that you aren't missing out. And that's easier said than done, especially when you are tired the majority of the time. So upon reflection, you, me, all of us will probably realize that, in the past, we had a great life. Or maybe we were happier. Maybe we were healthier. We were definitely, when we were younger, better looking and didn't appreciate it. We were definitely fitter and didn't appreciate it. We were definitely less tired and didn't appreciate it. When you look back in the past, you might see someone who doesn't have the confidence that they should have. And that's where the worrying part is. You didn't know that you were living your best life. You didn't know it, you didn't feel it, and you didn't enjoy it. And that goes for not just in the past, but you know what? It goes for right now, because in another 10 or 20 years' time, you'll look at yourself now and you'll probably think the same thing. So while you're looking at yourself and you're running yourself down, thinking that you're not good enough in comparison to others, or even in comparison to yourself, and you're going through that ritual on a daily basis, or some people on an hourly basis, keep in mind that in 20 years' time, you'll probably reflect upon the person that you are now and think that right now you didn't realize that you have a great life, that you are in the moment living your best life, or that you are happier than you realize, healthier than you realize, better looking than you realize, fitter than you realize, less tired than you realized, less stiff than you realize, and all these things. So hopefully that puts it a little bit into perspective. Do take the time to be thankful. Do take the time to be grateful. And count your blessings. Count all the things to be thankful and grateful for. Don't leave it too long. Do take the time to reflect. Don't live in the past too long, but especially on past achievements. Now, I know there's people out there that don't need to remind themselves on their past achievements because they nearly have it printed on a business card and talk about it and hand it to absolutely everyone they meet. But the majority of people don't acknowledge their wins. And when we do reflect on the past, what's the first thing we reflect on? Oh, sure, of course, it's negativity and it's our failures and things that are going to shake your confidence and shake your motivation. You need to train yourself, for positive ego, not for false ego, and not for negative ego, but for positive ego, to give you the confidence to continue and the motivation to continue. Do take the time to reflect on your past achievements, because that can help you continue to go forward. Truly decide what to strive for, keeping in mind that you don't want to dedicate your life to a false cause or a false goal. So take the time to be thankful. Do take the time to reflect on your past achievements and your past victories, and truly decide what to strive for. That alone should give you the confidence and the motivation to continue. There's no reason why you can't be living your best life now and continuing to improve what that means to you in the future, in all the various things that we talked about, the freedom, but also still having the balance with responsibility. You could have all the freedom in the world and get bored. You could have all the freedom in the world and feel that you're not contributing to society or that you're not leaving a legacy. So you want to have the nice balance between feeling wanted and feeling needed. So having that enough responsibility in your life, as well as then having the freedom to take the time away from that to do the things that you want to do. Hopefully I've given you something to think about. Hopefully I've reframed certain things in your mind. Definitely hit me up anytime. I would love to hear your opinion and what you're up to. Message me anytime through the successsensei.com. Thank you for listening. I'm Roundhouse Rob, the Success Sensei. Life is a fight you can enjoy and win. Bowing out.
This has been the Success Sensei, fighting the winning fight. So add us, subscribe, like, and comment. Keep those hands up and keep moving forward.